There I am. Hey, there I am. Okay, so today I was talking like last week about all the things possible in terms of that could go great. Like great things are going on, man. Everything's awesome, and I just want to tell people like it's not always awesome. You know what I mean? In fact, like I have a really cool thing I'm going to announce next week about like bringing something more to the world. I have my book. My book's done, and I'm just working on the cover, and I may change the title. So I don't. Those are the things that are working great in my life. But sometimes things don't work so great, man. And like I want to tell people, like you know what I mean. Like I have a lot of success, and I have a lot of things going well for me in my life, and I have a lot of fantastic people. I have a lot of phenomenal support, but things don't always go as planned. And I want to share today. I was talking earlier this week about things that don't work well. Like one of the things that haven't worked well are not every single investment that I've made in my life has turned out well. Probably I've had a whole lot of them that didn't go so well. One took me 6 years to pay back. That was like awesome. So I invested. So I was buying and selling things on eBay, and I'm like, wow! I came across this market. It was the hottest, fattiest. When I say fad, I mean like fad kind of business, and I was just buying and selling things, and it was going so well. And I'm like, you know what? I need a new supplier. So rather than bump up my current supplier, which was becoming less and less consistent, which should have been telling me a little bit about the market. The market collapsed like 4 months after this, but this particular one, I went all in and bought like boxes and boxes and boxes, cases and cases and cases of this product, and they never delivered. And my credit card didn't support me. My bank didn't support me. They allowed another institution to literally rob me of tens of thousands of dollars. And at the time, that was like really a lot of money to me. You know, I had family court going on. I had a lot of different financial challenges in my life at the time. So like when, you know, you have a business and you're making only $10,000, $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month, and then you make an $80,000, $90,000 hit, and you got everybody pulling from you financially. I went all in, and this is back, gosh, dude, this was like 20 years ago. So this is like one of the lessons that like I've really gone, and what I mean, like unless like I would lay my life on the line for a deal, I would never ever go all in on anything ever again. Like poker's different. $100 is different in my money. If it's somebody else's money, or if it's my money, even today, you know what I mean? Like all in is like, unless I have a royal flush, I'm not going all in on anything. You know what I mean? I would probably wonder if the other person had a royal flush if I had one. You know what I mean? That's kind of like my mentality today, because I took, it was a fad industry, which I've learned to stay away from. But not only was it a fad, but like I went to a new supplier. I did not. This is the second time in my life that I did not go meet the new business partner. I had a $25 million business deal blow up in my face, and because me and none of the partners, like it wasn't just me, it was like all the partners, including me, did not go meet the other side. So I took the word of somebody that I trusted, and that's another lifelong lesson in every deal that it's gone wrong in my life, that like I've trusted somebody when I shouldn't have, or I've trusted somebody almost without doing any like due diligence or investigation. You know what I mean? And so that was like one of my worst investments ever. And it took me years to pay it back. It was both my money, borrowed money, and credit card money. So it was like all in. And that's what I learned from that lesson, was that number one, I don't go all in on anything, one of anything. Number two is that, when I'm investing in things, I always meet the other side. Like I will not do a deal. There will be no money exchanged. If it's, I have a $10,000 or less like limit. If it's over $10,000, I'd like to meet the person. Zoom's usually not enough. I usually got to meet them in person. If it's over 100,000, absolutely go meet them. If it's over anything over 100,000, like for me, it's over 10, but even over 100, you want to meet the people face to face. You know what I mean? Just because like so many things, people are people, and like, I've never been robbed by someone I met in person. You know what I mean? Well, that's not true. I mean, people have tried to rob me, and they may have gone away with it for a short period of time, but my instinctual about people is not wrong very often. You know what I mean? And if I try to do it over the phone, they can con me over the phone. They've conned me over Zoom. You know what I mean? I had a couple deals I walked. Some of the best deals I ever did were the ones I didn't do. So, you know what I mean? People are trying to, take advantage or rob me or whatever, or do, I don't know, fraud. Fraud is usually a great word. You know what I mean? Saying they're going to do something and then don't. It's not like missing a checkbox. You know what I mean? They give you 500 check marks and they only cover 497 of them. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's like one of the, that's fraud. You know what I mean? But if they miss a couple checkbox, I mean, everybody does it. I think I've done it enough times. You know what I mean? I always, if the checkbox something that somebody was like, well, I bought your product because of this one checkbox. Like, okay, let's do it then. You know what I mean? I'll do it and send it out to everybody else as a bonus. Like, but there's a very dramatic difference between, missing a checkbox and, promising services or delivering on things. The second worst investment I ever have in my life. And you know what I mean? I'm going to talk a little more about this in my seminars and stuff too. But, it's like, somebody I did business with for years, sent them hundreds of thousands of dollars in business over years. You know what I mean? And the amount of energy that it sucked from me, you know what I mean? Somebody I really trusted, and the betrayal level was like the ultimate. You know what I mean? They promised like the delivery, marketing, they were going to, help me get clients, all this kind of crap. And, you know what I mean? They're like, well, we gave you a video and just like checked it out there for you. That was my second worst ever experience with people or with like investing in something and someone. And what was really the lesson there was people change. You know what I mean? And it wasn't a bad investment in terms with like, somebody you've done business with 5 years ago, you got to check them in their life today was kind of like the lesson. You know what I mean? Because 5 years ago, he had integrity and ethics. And 5 years later, he has no integrity, zero ethics, zero fulfillment, zero commitment. You know what I mean? And, that was the learning lesson there was that, people change, business deals change, all these things change, I've had a lot of other bad investments, nobody really likes talking about this stuff. I don't really care because like, every one of these things has made me a better investor, made me wiser in my choosing, and the ultimate discernment and having other people share their horror stories and their investing in people. I think another one of the top 10 was like the operator who couldn't was the lesson. I had somebody that said he was an operator. I did check in on him. He lied to me for months that he was doing the things he said he was doing and wasn't. And you know what I mean? Like, and if you do have an operator in place, you have to have like KPIs and systems in place. So if they are lying or not committing or having breakdowns, whatever word you want to use, that you can find it, discover it quickly and address it immediately and either punt them off or kick them off the project and bring someone else new or shut the project down quickly. So having systems in place, I think the biggest financial lesson I've learned this year is bad processes break great people. So, I mean, like the last like month and a half, I've been doing SOPs and putting processes into place for my own teams and people. Like I never realized like, I naturally do processes and I have my own processes and I have my team. So my trading team, they have processes in place because I've been working with them for 10, 12 years. You know what I mean? So some of them like 13 years I've been working with them. No, 13 to be in May. 13 years I've been working with some of the people on my trading team. And it's like we have systems already built in. We've kind of done it naturally over time. And we have definite systems, and I've had to tweak the systems over time. So time is another factor that a lot of people don't give in creating the processes that don't break great people, because we all have bad processes. Like I'm doing a project right now. I'll probably share the presentation with the world, but I'm doing a presentation on delegation. And I consider myself a decent delegator. I have 5 kids. I've done almost 100 different teams, like with kids, and kids are probably the hardest to bring together. They trust their parents, and they have this weird, strange looking big guy that's now their coach, and they have to, perform for the coach, right? And they have to perform for themselves and perform together. So if you don't have processes put in place and you don't have things put in place to kind of graduate them together as a team, if the team doesn't come together, they don't win. That sucks. The parents get more angry, more hostile. All the things happen. When teams don't work out well, it's a disaster across the board. They complain more, they growl more. They become a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? So But when a team comes together, and I've done this like probably 50, 60 times, but like, when they really come together, I've only done this probably less than 10% of the time. When a team really comes together, I mean, I've had the worst teams in the league been first, second, third place, and we had the least amount of talent of every other team in the entire league. And some of the leagues had 30 teams, some had 12 teams, but some of them had 12 teams, probably the smallest league. Well, I did one other league, I had 5, but we had the most dominating team I've ever worked with in that league. But you can take the least amount of talented people, bring them together, working conjuncturally together, delegating tasks when necessary, picking up slack when slack's being drawn by other people, picking people up when they're down, you know what I mean? Not kicking each other or kicking the back of the legs or, smacking each other with a baseball mitt or throwing basketball at people's heads and all the stuff that kids love to do to each other. But, I'm saying, like, when they work in conjunction, the worst talented team can dominate the best team that isn't performing well together. And so that was a really big eye-opening for me. It's like, okay, so it's not even a matter of can the team work well as it is, can the team work well together? And when it doesn't work, it's a complete disaster. It's just absolutely mind-numbingly crap. And so I think the best thing to possibly do is to really take a look at all components of all things, and be and also ask for help. One of the biggest things I've learned in the last year is to be able to say, hey man, I don't have all this. I need someone else to put their eyeballs on this and tell me what they think. And it's easier for me to send it off somewhere and have someone take a look at it and then give them give me a context and then me go through something, right? Versus me create a context. I find things faster that way. So, the delegation tasks and delegating is way cool. One of the other things that I've really gotten into in the last year, is really realizing that, like, I've been hiding for a really long time, man. I like small towns because I don't like being involved in a lot of things, but I've changed that. Now I'm in small towns and I'm extremely involved in things. And so what does this have to all do with investing? It's investing time. And I think that every bad deal that I've had, and the two worst that I described, was the amount of time and energy. And so in land development, they have a best and highest use of the land, right? So, and that terminology means, like, the highest and best use means how can we suck the most amount of dollars out of it? Is it putting a mobile home park in? Is it putting a theme park in? Is it putting a strip mall in? Is it putting, like, a mixed use? Is it putting, there's 1,000 things you can do with a piece of property, right? And so they send in a team of people in there and they charge 6 figures to do this. And they say, let's take a look at the environment. What about the people who come? What about the people who whatever? And so this guy comes up with this highest and best use plan. And, this last year, my focus has been, and I'm going to continue to go down this path, is what's the highest and best use of my time, money, and energy? Okay. And, and that's the most important thing, because, like, nobody wants to put their money into, 1% bonds and hope that, like, they're going to become billionaires, right? You know what I mean? At the same time, you don't want to put your money into 40 and 60% return category if they're high risk. I mean, if they're not high risk, that's what everybody wants. But if they're really high risk, which most are, then it's like, keep me out of those things, man. Like, give me my CDs at 5, give me my next level at 10, or give me my next level. If I have 100,000 or more, a million or more, give me my 20% and I'm good. And so it's the highest and best use of time, money, and energy. So I'm going to end with that. I just really want to share, like, those two really, really horrifying investments. One was, like, the absolute loss of money and the time that it took to pay it back and the stress. You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, they're all giggly and they're like, a lot of people come to me because I have a lot of friends with money and I know how to get money. But it's like, the thing about it is like, if you're really googly eyed about something, you better have divested and invested in that, because, if someone's putting money up, sometimes they put their house on the line. Sometimes they put that money on the line because, I had one investor come to me and tell me, like, I lent this guy $500,000. Now I can't make a mortgage payment. This guy hasn't paid me in 6 months. I'm going to miss my mortgage payment this month. That's what you do to the investor. I mean, obviously not everybody's an institutional investor. And obviously it was his fault for not doing better due diligence, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But, you know what I mean? On the opposite end of that was, you know, me, it took me years to pay back, you know, tens of thousands of dollars that I borrowed from multiple sources for a deal that couldn't go wrong and did, because I didn't meet the people on the other side. And the second one was, you know what I mean, just an incredible like time suck and energy suck that I allowed. Okay. It wasn't the scumbag, the fraudster. It was the person on the other side. You know what I mean? Like, I allowed the time suck and the energy suck. You know what I mean? And with that, those are my two worst investments I've ever done. One was time, and one was money over years. You know what I mean? And I share these, share these because everybody's always like, "Oh, look at me! Look at all the great things I'm doing." And I'm doing a lot of great things, right? But you know, I think sometimes like it's really good that, and I hope someone on this or hears this or sees this, and they're like, "Wow, I can't believe that happened to you." Like, wow, like, I wonder how I can implement this into my life. I don't need any sympathy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my mistakes have made me phenomenal, but they suck. And I want the lessons to be passed on, number one, to my children, number two, to my community, and number three, to the world. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I think it's, everybody's always like, look at me. And like, you know, sometimes like this, I'm the example of what not to do. And there's nothing wrong with either one. You know what I mean? Both are kind of egocentric, but that's okay too. One's like, just, hey man, here's a basket of lessons that don't do this. And I think it's so important to share those with young budding entrepreneurs, young budding investors, and young budding, people who are either becoming fund managers or becoming, anything in regards to money, even if it's only your own, right? If you're just trying to invest your own money, or if you're trying to multiply your own money, the lessons are infamous. And that is my phone. Have a great day. That's my wife. Take care, everybody. Hey, baby. How are you?